Hey guys, today we're doing a video on how to use Scratch Track with a MIDI controller like this one. Really this should be for most MIDI controllers on the market. It's not going to work for 100% of them. So if you've already watched this video and you're trying it with your controller and you can't get it to work, feel free to email me through the website or just drop something down there in the comments and we'll get it sorted out for you. But it does work with most of them. Okay, so Scratch Track is a plugin, and also there's a standalone version of it. Once you've installed all of that's on your computer, you should be able to run it in any DAW, and the setup for how to make this work is going to be pretty similar from DAW to DAW, and also the standalone version. I'm going to point out a few differences along the way, but whatever DAW you're using, it should be basically the same, right? And today we are doing it in Ableton. So this is Ableton. It's on a MacBook. First we just load up the plugin right here. Now, once the plugin's there, we've got to figure out how to route the MIDI, not just through the DAW, the MIDI from this device, not just into the DAW, but into the plugin. So the first thing to do is move something on your MIDI device, and you should see it somewhere on your DAW. If you don't, you might have to create a MIDI track or whatever, but here we have it on the MIDI track. So we know it's getting into the computer. However, there's a little MIDI monitor right here on Scratch Track. And if I move it, I know it doesn't move. If I try to MIDI learn something, it's not going to work. The reason is because there's no MIDI getting to this DAW, right? Or to that plugin. So the way you set that up, again, a little bit different in different DAWs. In Ableton, I could drop it on a MIDI track, but I want to leave it on an audio track. So what I'm going to do is create this MIDI track, and then we route it to the Scratch Track plugin. So it's an audio plugin, but it accepts MIDI. So you got to be able to send it MIDI. And because this is in Ableton, it's going to squash it down all to channel 1, which I'm not thrilled about, but that's the way it does it. Okay, so now I'm going to open up the MIDI control panel. Well, actually, first here, we'll just move this, and you can see there's MIDI getting to Scratch Track. So now it's got MIDI, so we're ready to go, right? I'm going to open up the MIDI control panel. You can also see it, in here. You can also see the MIDI coming in. Now, there's a couple things to note at this point. If you have gotten to this point and you're going, I just can't get it to work, MIDI's not coming in, I don't see it, and you're moving stuff, you should check and see if you're running as a VST3, right? VST3 plugins do not allow controller messages, which is what most of these use. It doesn't allow those to go to plugins, right? That's just the way VST3s work. So there's two ways you can solve this. One, you can run the VST2, right? But let's say we're a year into the future, VST2s are no longer around on the DAW that you're using. You have to use VST3, and you can't get MIDI because the DAW is not sending it. We've put in a workaround for that. So you see right down here, it says MIDI input. This is direct MIDI connection going around the DAW and connecting to the device. So I can go down here, for example, this is an impulse, select it, and now I'm going to get rid of this track, right? So I know I'm not getting any MIDI from the DAW, but the device is still getting MIDI. The plugin is still getting MIDI. It's getting it directly from the device, right? That's a good workaround just to make sure everybody can get connected to their device. It may have trouble on Windows because Windows doesn't like to share devices. You may need to disable it in some DAWs if you're going to do it this way. Whatever. There's a few things to try like that, but one of those things should work for you, and you should be able to get MIDI to the plugin. Okay, so now we've got MIDI to the plugin. Let's do what we have to do to learn the platter. Most platters have 3 different MIDI signals, essentially, right? There's one for when you're touching it, to just say you're touching it, you're not touching it. There's one to say it's going forward, and there's one to say it's coming backwards. So we have to learn those 3 things. We have to learn them, and they're all right here. So first, the touch, right? There's a little learn button here. You just click learn, touch the thing. For tick forward, it's a little bit different. You have to be holding it down because you don't want it to see the touch signal. So while holding it down, move it forward, click learn, and then you'll see it learn there. Then same thing, while holding it down, move backwards, click learn, and you'll see it learn the backwards. Once it's all set up, and of course mine was already set up, so you saw these lights. Once it's set up, you should see the tick forward and tick back lighting up just the way mine are. When you're going forward, it should know. When you're going back, it should know. Okay, cool. There's also a velocity mode up here. There's a few old devices that do it differently. I'm not going to go into that now, but this is more, 98% of you are going to use the position mode, not the velocity mode. Velocity mode is almost for people who want to do like pitch wheels on a keyboard, that kind of thing, like kind of experimental stuff. Okay, so that's all mapped up. You notice there's also a sensitivity and a friction here. We're going to talk about those in just 1 second. Let's just test it. Here, this is the samples that we have loaded up. So in my case, okay, pretty good. There's a few things we're going to want to change. And sensitivity and friction are right on top of that, right? So if I do that again, if I turn sensitivity down or way up, right, you notice my hand is only going the same amount each time, but I turn sensitivity up or down, and it's like you're throwing it real hard or a little bit. This is different from controller to controller, so you want to kind of tweak it, get your own feel, make sure it like works for you. Same thing with friction. Friction's kind of cool. Watch this, like if I turn friction all the way down. Oop, that was too far down. Hang on. You can do like really big spin backs, or if it's really all the way up. Hang on a second, let me just run this out. If it's all the way up, if friction's all the way up, it's just really tight, right? But usually when you let go, you want to have a little bit of give so that you're able to do that without it like going forward. If you're doing that and it like rushes forward on you, friction might be too high for you. For me, friction at about 3/4, sensitivity at about 1/4 is usually where I want to be. Cool. Now, just to show you a couple other things, we're going to do a couple other things here to just finish setting this up. First of all, I already mentioned here's the samples. You can just load samples there. This is your crossfader. I like mine to be about like that. You can change the curve, so, change the way this is. Now, yeah, you saw I was already mapping this. So you can also map the rest of this, right? So we've mapped what we had to for this, but anything you see here, all you got to do is right-click, right? And then MIDI learn, add MIDI trigger, and then put it in there, right? So we can also learn this guy, right? Well, I've already done it. You get the idea. You can learn that. You can also learn the triggers over there. One thing to note about Scratch Track, it's got a very wide range for the play speed. So you can... Yeah. So you can get really creative with stuff like that. There's also effects, but we're going to go over that in some other videos. But that's it, man. That's the whole setup. Like I said, it should work with most devices, and sensitivity and friction. You're going to have to set up a little bit for each device till it like really feels good. But yeah, happy scratching.